This is That Saints Pod, new Saints Pod by the No Network. You got me, Patty V from Who Effing Knows fame. You got Jacob over here from Big Easy Nations, and you got Dave Rainey in the back running producer extraordinaire on this show. Yeah. He's gonna keep us honest here. How we doing, guys? Ready to talk Saints?
Yeah.
Yep. Heck yeah. Did I get it right? Big Easy Nations or Big Easy Nation? Nation.
Yep.
See, I tricked myself because I was thinking back in the day, my guy's page was Saints Nations with the S. Yep. So as I'm throwing it out, I'm already messing it up. Episode 1, 3 seconds in. So
that's all right.
It's all good though. We're running through it. What we got? We got Mr. Dave Rainey's going to throw out some topics, and we're going to run through some things tonight, and hopefully you guys enjoy what we got coming.
Yeah. So this is basically our, I guess, lead up into the season episode. I figured the best way to start this would be to just discuss what we saw during the preseason. First off, what are your overall thoughts just on the team in the preseason, your strengths and weaknesses of the team? Jacob, give me what was the strongest part of the team for you?
Definitely the defense. Definitely like defense, secondary, D-line looked really good. Linebackers, weaknesses, I'd say O-line looked really bad.
I got a question about the deep, not to cut you off. I'm sorry. If you got thoughts, keep going. I had a question about the defense in general, because I agree they looked phenomenal for the first 2 weeks. But last week, and granted, there's a lot of backups playing. Last week, it looked like they just couldn't figure out anything. It looked like they had no discipline. Looked like they were all over the place. Are you concerned seeing last week, or do you think that's just an anomaly?
Yeah, I'm not really that concerned. I think they'll get it together for sure.
Okay. What else though? You were saying strengths, weaknesses. What else?
O-line, don't really have a lot of depth at all at O-line. Receivers, we got Olave, Shaheed, who else?
Yeah.
A.T. Perry, besides A.T., really not many other names. Running back behind AK and Jamal Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be that third?
Is it safe to say that the season kind of rides or dies on the offensive line? Because that's a thought I've had. I think there's other weaknesses on the team, like we just said. But for me, if your offensive line is terrible, unless you have an elite a quarterback that can overcome that, which we'll get into the quarterback conversation later.
Right.
But do you think that's a fair thing to say? Is that that could make or break the season?
Yeah, I would say that about every season, about every team. I mean, and that's like you mentioned is one of the weaknesses. I agree. I think the offensive line is definitely a weakness. I don't think it's a weakness because of talent on the top end. I actually think seeing the starting group, if they can stay healthy, I think you got a shot. But the chances of them staying healthy is pretty rare.
Getting it together. You got Fraga looks really good.
Yeah,
he looks good.
Yeah,
but.
Well, and you still don't know what's your guy's name that was supposed to start at guard, and he's been hurt.
Ruiz.
Yeah, he hasn't even had the chance to step on the field. Now, granted, his backup, I think, has performed. He looks solid. I love the scheme.
Yep.
I love the running game behind that scheme that you've seen in the preseason so far. So I think there's a lot to be said depending on how they roll into the season, what their mindset is. Are they going to be a run-first offense? I think they are. I think you can hide some issues with that line, specifically Penning. A lot of the preseason games I watch where he looks good on the pass downs, they're doubling, they're chipping, they're making sure he's got help on the rundowns. He's just mauling people. He looks great.
I think with Penning, so one thing with this scheme we keep hearing about is how it should help the offensive line, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it travel throughout San Francisco's coach. I'm blanking on his name. Shanahan's time. We've seen his schemes travel. That's essentially what we're running, right? I think with Penning, if you can start the game running the ball and get him that confidence, I think that would go a long way for him, because he did have the pass on the Rattler touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great block, probably the best block we've seen from him.
He had some really good plays against
Titans.
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 He had a bunch of really bad plays too, but he cleans up like half of those. Then
I mean, it's gonna be hit or miss, right? There's progress, and that's what's promising. He's looked better. He's made some boneheaded plays. Not every rep is going to be perfect. That's something I'll probably hammer until we're 3-7, and then I'll be like, get it right. But I mean, just as long as he's growing, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because it kind of transitions into that. I was going to ask, are there any players that impressed you? But I was also going to ask, are there any players that disappointed you? And one of the ones I was going to ask about was Trevor Penning. Are you disappointed that he hasn't taken, you say there's improvement, but as a first round pick, you would hope by year 2, you could at least say this is a starter. And I think there's legitimate question whether he is a starter right now, like talent wise. Is he the most disappointing player from this preseason for you? Or is there other players that stand out that you're disappointed by?
No, man. Yeah, definitely say he's, disappointing that he hasn't really taken that leap yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't mean to cut you off. If you're talking, just talk over me. I'll shut up. I promise.
No, you could talk.
I think if I take a step back, right? If I put myself in the shoes of where I am now, that's what you're asking. I don't think he is the most disappointing. I'll be honest. I think coming off of last year, absolutely, you could point to him and say, hey, probably the most disappointing guy on the roster. Like the way he is drafted so high, can't even get on the field as a swing tackle. There's some issues and some questions that are coming up there, right? I think seeing him play better, and it looks like he's going to go into the season as the starter. At first, when I heard he was going into the season as a starter, I was scared. I'm still not quite confident. Yeah. But I feel better about it. So preseason wise, disappointed. I don't think it's him.
And he went to Armstead's camp over the summer. So hopefully that, he learned a little bit from that, he gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also have you're getting a taste of the scheme right now, but we're also not getting the full thing, right? Like when you're running a full offense, that could benefit him a little more. I think for me, people like Peyton Turner, those are the ones I'm really disappointed in. Granted, Foskey's year 2 as a second round pick, but like he is a legitimate cut candidate. That's how bad he is right now.
He's just never in the picture. That's what I don't understand. Like if your technique's bad, if you're having a bad go, be a hustle guy, stand out on tape, and he's not even doing that. So I agree. I think Foskey is definitely disappointment.
Peyton Turner might be even more, but year 3 now? 3, 4, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we still don't even know if he's good because he can't be on the field.
Yeah. He had turf toe again.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And then talking about people that aren't on the field, Kendray's got to be a disappointing player right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kendray's the one I would call out. And it's mainly because of injury. It's so frustrating. Put him over
Penning.
Yeah. It's
I don't think so.
Frustrating.
Even though I said Penning is more disappointing, but I don't know. That kind of.
Yeah, we can. I have more about Kendray later on.
Yeah, I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole yet.
We'll dive down that more. What about players that stood out to you? I have a couple on the top of my head. If y'all want to give yours, or I can give mine.
I know we're going to talk about him later, but I'll be honest, Spencer Rattler, man. And I know that he's the flavor of the week right now. I know that coming in, like everybody was hyped up about him, and I have thoughts on all that. And we'll talk about that when we get in the quarterback conversation. He surprised me. I know you guys, anybody watching this, maybe meeting me for the first time, if you've seen me on other podcasts, you know that I was the guy that was a little standoffish. I was like, I don't know. There's a reason he was drafted in the 5th round, But I would say he definitely surprised me. I don't know. I think that's the main one that stands out to me. There's a few others. I think Penning has surprised me just in a vacuum, what we're talking about now. Who else?
Rico Payton.
Yep. That was one of the names on my list.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Rico Payton. The other one I had is Anthony Orji.
Yeah.
The linebacker, especially game 2. He was game 2. Like he jumped off the screen for me. Felt like he was in on every play.
Yeah. Is it a cop out to say Chase?
No.
Like I know that
Chase Young.
Yeah. Chase Young.
Oh no, definitely not.
I know that people were like a little concerned about him because of his injury history. I thought he was going to come in and be a monster, but yeah, he's above and beyond, already playing.
Jacob Bodie, another one.
Yeah.
I don't think the talent is the question with Chase Young. I would think most people assume that he is going to perform when he's on the field. That's the question is, will we see him for 17 games?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Another person that has stood out is Brian Brzee.
Yeah.
He seems to be taking a leap. I think the Chase Young move is going to open up. You can see it already. The pressures those two are going to generate together, it's going to be unreal. And it should, in turn, help Cam, who, is Cam at this point. It's a little older.
Taylor's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty good.
You mentioned Spencer Rattler impressing you. I saw these stats earlier. I just wanted to read them off. So in the preseason, 53% passing, 202 passing yards, 26 rushing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, no interceptions.
Yeah, that is impressive. That's very impressive. I don't know if this is going to go into the quarterback conversation, but I'll just launch into part of this. I think what's more impressive and most impressive about what you just said is 0 interceptions. That was my concern with Spencer Rattler coming in. Is now granted in college he was always under pressure, but he just would make some boneheaded throws sometimes, right? Some things that you guys call out Derek Carr for. You may see some of the same things in Spencer Rattler, but yeah, seeing those 0 interceptions. And also, I mean, you mentioned how many incompletions, but if you look back and pull up the drops, like there's probably a ton of drops in there too. His percentages go up. Everything goes up.
This week, I can think of 3 or 4 right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right. I think you say no interceptions. I can't even recall like a dangerous pass being thrown. Like he
made really good decisions,
Yeah. The second game was rough, but I'm not even sure that was on him because Hayner looked rough too. But that offensive line they were both playing behind is terrible. That's the thing with Rattler. I'm really excited to see him with the ones if we get to see that at any point. Moving on from that, roster cuts are starting. We're starting to get notifications all day long about teams cutting players. I haven't seen any for the Saints. I don't know if y'all have yet.
Not yet.
Well, we should get a flurry of them tomorrow. What positions, and we talked about strengths and weaknesses, so it kind of leads into this. What positions do you think they need to address the most?
Say probably receiver, get another 4th or 5th receiver. And O-line, guard, tackle.
Yeah, pretty obvious.
The depth and
I mean, I think those are the obvious. I think receiver and O-line are going to be obvious. I'm a little concerned about running back. It's just because Kendra can't be healthy. I know we have Jamal. I know we have Alvin. I know Taysom's going to play a lot of running back probably. They'll probably get like creative there, but I feel like they need another one.
I've seen people say we need a speed back. So maybe it's more of a type of back that we need than a body because they have some I think they have 2 or 3 guys that could fill the Jamal Williams role is replaceable by probably 2 other James Robinson. That James Robinson.
Oh, yeah. That James Robinson.
It is for anybody wondering. It is that James Robinson.
It is.
He looked good, man. I think he's probably your 4th back.
Yeah.
Or 3rd back, whatever, depending on what they do at Kendra. I wouldn't mind seeing a speed back come in and just having another change of pace. But also if Alvin is Alvin, he's kind of he's a speed back.
I think I'm looking at it because I'm expecting it to be very similar to what you've seen in San Francisco or even in the past with Gary Kubiak schemes where you've got multiple running backs that are carrying the load. And I know in modern NFL, these guys are dropping like flies.
Can Taysom be your speed back?
He's one of the fastest dudes on the team.
Yeah.
He's got the 2nd fastest acceleration behind Alvin Kamara.
Yeah. I loved seeing that, by the way. When somebody pointed, I think it was Triplet, pointed that out. I was like, because everybody says Alvin has lost the burst. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. No. And that proves it.
Listen, just calling it out, we can move on. I think the issues with Alvin have been scheme related, not talent related.
Well, yeah, I don't know if this is just me or this is one of those eye test things where it feels like once they paid him for being a dynamic back, they completely went away from the passing game with him and took away half of what made him so special. Yeah. So that's been
I can't believe it took him this long to finally put Taysom in the fullback spot in Camaro,
Oh,
yeah.
Talk about surprises of the preseason. The fact that we saw that from Taysom, as a halfback, that feels like one of those things where we're not going to show you this yet.
Yeah.
If you'd have just busted that out week 1, I'd be like, oh, this is exciting.
You know what's great is I think that's not even the surface. I can only imagine the things they're going to do with Taysom Hill.
I know we're talking about roster cuts, but we're comparing the schemes, right? The San Francisco scheme. Who's the Debo role in this team? Because I immediately thought Shaheed. Naturally, that feels like the fit, right? Is it Taysom?
Honestly, I think it's Kamara. I know that feels weird because you got Christian McCaffrey. He's going to play that role maybe. But before McCaffrey was there, Debo was still Debo, and he just did it all.
Yeah.
I think it's Kamara. I think you see some Taysom in it.
Yeah.
I don't think Olave that's not somebody I want taking extra hits like that. I do think Olave out the backfield could be a dynamic thing, but
you saw it last year. I mean, it was awesome.
He's not built like Debo is. Debo's a big guy. So I don't know if I want Olave
taking
a lot of
hits last year. Olave.
Yeah.
He can't.
I'm excited. To see how that works out. You mentioned receiver and getting a 4th or 5th receiver. I think they could still be in the hunt for a 3rd receiver. We have A.T. Perry, but has he? I absolutely think he deserves to be on the team. That's not me saying I don't think he should be on the team. I don't know that he's done enough to solidify himself as a 3rd receiver at this point.
I mean, he led the receiving yards for preseason, so but I don't think it's enough.
But he also played more.
He did
did.
play more. He was always the big play guy. If you go
Yeah.
back and watch all the plays for the preseason, it was always the A.T. Perry
Unless you get somebody like Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's out there, John Mechie,
trade
who's out
candidate.
there. Yeah, you make a trade, but I don't know who else on the roster could take that
There's
spot.
plenty of free agents out there too. Like
that's what I just pulled
what
up.
you got over there? Name some of them.
So these are the top ones available.
Before you do this, do you just want to say yes or no for like third or fourth wide receiver as we go through them?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to be fun here.
Let's do that. I'm gonna skip the second name. I'll save him.
Oh,
for last.
okay.
Renfro,
Yes.
Russell Gage.
No. I just no.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Jamal Agnew.
No.
He's one of the best return specialists in the game. So he also brings that.
That's fair. I don't think you need that though.
Well, I mean, if you want Shaheed to be like a true receiver,
Yeah.
then you need that.
You also still have
Other
to feel
return.
out this new return thing. Like, are the old return guys still going to be the good return guys? I don't know.
Why do you even return the ball anymore? Who cares?
Jakeem Grant. We're starting to
Yeah,
get down the
honestly,
list
now
here.
that we're going down it, I'm like, I don't know.
The free agents would be Donovan Peoples-Jones, which for me is an easy yes.
Yeah,
Tim
I think
Patrick.
so.
And if Tim Patrick, if he
Yeah.
the issue there is health.
Yeah.
And he's been, it's almost 2 years of not playing now. So it's
Similar to someone else who's a free agent.
yeah. And that's the last one, Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I mean,
I definitely bring him back.
this is probably going to be a hot take. No. And I think because of everything you've seen in the offseason, I don't think there's a reason to have him on the roster. I think it's kind of cancerous. And not that he's a cancer. I think that the ship has sailed.
Yeah, that's something else to say. Like, I'm sure that relationship hasn't been mended yet.
He's still liking tweets about Derek Carr being a terrible quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
probably not a good dude to bring
No.
in your locker room.
Definitely not.
And I would get it. I know there's probably a lot of people in that locker room that may agree with him, but like, you just can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll save it. We'll save it for the quarterback.
Okay.
For the quarterback talk. So that's receivers. We can move on to position battles unless y'all have any other positions you would want to bring somebody in at. We talked about running back, talked about
Safety.
receiver.
Can we talk about safety? What the hell's happening at safety?
Well, let's start there. We'll just start the position battles at safety. Coming into the season, it was Jordan Howden was the presumed starter. I don't think he's been the starter. Jonathan Abram might be your starter right now.
The guy they got from Detroit. I can't
Yeah, I'm
think
blanking
of
on
his
the
name.
Let me see. Pull up the depth chart here.
Yeah, I think he started last game.
We got
Howden and he started.
so you got Jordan Howden, Jonathan Abram, JT Gray, Milliard Bradford are the names here. Will Harris.
Will Harris. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of
They're listed as free safeties, but they interchange. None of those guys.
I'm not wowed. I was hoping I was hoping he would take over. I like Abram. I know people don't.
Oh, I love Jonathan.
He brings the wood.
Yeah.
He's a bat carrier, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I
You're
think
just gonna let that go. Okay.
I don't know. I like when it comes to DBs, there's a lot of things I don't trust Dennis Allen with. I think Dennis Allen is going to field a team of DBs no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I have all the faith in the world that the secondary is just going to work itself out.
Yeah. And I think he's going to put even guys that you probably wouldn't expect to be in a certain position in that position, or somebody's just randomly going to succeed. And it's going to be like, how did he just grew this dude on a tree? Where did this dude come from?
Yeah. Well, then also, if your pass rush is working like we think it's going to with Chase Young and all of them, your safeties have a little more help there. You're not relying on Jordan Howden as much. So it's a little bit of, as far as the defense goes, that's probably the only concern, I would say.
That's fair.
Maybe like pass
There's no
rusher
other
depth.
Yeah.
but
Depth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got pretty decent depth. I mean, not like glaring, but I don't know.
At safety or
D-line.
D-line. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think safety.
Move your mic closer. It's giving me anxiety.
I pumped it up.
Oh, you're good.
I'll just cut that part. Anyway, we'll save the best for last when it comes to position battles.
Oh, great. It's gonna be a fun one.
Let's do kickers next because
That's my guy.
that's a fun competition.
There it is.
I think we've briefly talked about this in life. Which kicker are you keeping? Groupie
Man.
or Charlie Smythe? Smythe missed this week with an injury, so I think it kind of writings on the wall of what's going to happen there. But
I think it's going to be Groupie. I think, he's been on the roster. He knows the system. I don't know.
He's the kicker.
Not the system, but like he hadn't been bad at all this preseason. Like,
he's been okay this preseason. I'll give you that. He definitely, I think he solidified his roster spot this last week. Yeah.
There's no really knowing the system.
Yeah. When you said he knows the system, I think I jumped. I was like, he's a kicker. Yeah, no. I mean, this week he hit 59, 60 something yard. I don't know. It was a long kick. And then he hit the other one, which is kind of a gimme. But that's what you expect. You expect the gimmies. If he's going to hit the long ones too, fantastic. That's how he made his name last year. Now the question is week 3, if he's missed a couple easy ones, are you looking again? I don't know.
I mean, do you keep 2 kickers on the roster?
No.
Well, I think you try to stash
if you can,
Smythe,
if you can do
as
like
a
an
practice
injury
squad.
But
Yeah, I'd rather keep him around on the practice squad than a 5th, 6th running back. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be tough to keep him now. I
What's
think another
Smythe's
team.
What's Smythe's injury designate, or what's his injury right now?
I'd have to see. I can
Like,
try
is
to
he
look it up,
like? Can you stash him as an injury designation going in like
but IR?
not IR, but which one's longer? I don't know. I should
Well, you
know.
can
These
IR.
things.
Is IR still 3
They
weeks?
changed it. The rule.
Oh, it's shorter now. That's
Yeah,
right.
remember
Yeah.
they changed it COVID year.
4
So,
weeks, I think.
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
I don't know. I mean, is it worth it?
I think so, man. Like, if how many games have we feel like we've been cost in the past because of kickers?
Mhm.
You know, like, I think it's an important position. I don't know. I would keep Smythe around. Personally, I like you're out there hitting 65 yarders, 66 yarders, like, and they look like they're good from 72.
Yeah.
I'm very easily sold, I guess, when it comes to kickers, but I understand not wanting to go with a rookie kicker 2 years
In a row. Because it failed you last year. So you keep the guy that failed you last year. That's where my brain's at.
But I don't think Rupi was a complete failure last year.
He wasn't, but what disappointed me about him last year is he was not one of the better kickers in the league, and he wasn't even better than the guy we let go of.
There.
So that was frustrating.
Yeah. Well,
we could leave it at that.
While we're on specialists, this isn't a competition, but we should probably just cut both punters and find a new one.
He just got released, Harvin from the 49ers, who
that dude?
He just got released today.
Wait a minute. That dude was the best punter I've ever seen with my own two. I would sign him immediately. It cannot be worse.
You know what's crazy though? You asked your buddy who's a Steelers fan who had him before, and he's like, he was awful.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I don't know. Like,
but he had like 3 really good punts, like back to back.
Oh, he did.
It was the best punting performance I've ever seen. But also, like, he literally cannot be worse than what we have.
Yeah.
So, like, and I feel bad saying that, because I was on the Lou Headley hype train last year, and then he really let me down.
All I'm hearing is we made 2 really bad choices last year. Maybe more than 2, but specifically in the specialist game.
Yeah. All right. Who are the 3rd and 4th receivers on this team as they stand right now? Not if you add somebody. Of the guys, I think we're all pretty convinced it's A.T. Perry as number 3.
Cedric Wilson 4.
He's 4.
I think, yeah.
I don't remember a Cedric Wilson play from the preseason.
He did a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't have a 4. I really don't know. St. Brown looked good, but I don't want him as the 4. Sorry, you didn't like our food. Like, I don't know. That's not why, but like, I don't know. I do want to make the comment that we had the St. Brown brother and we had Puka Nakua's little brother. So
we got Sewell's little brother too.
And we got Sewell. Yeah, but he's not a wide receiver.
Oh, he's not. But still,
I was just hoping we'd get some
kind of going with that trend.
Yeah, talent transfer though, you know. No, I have no idea. What are the options for 4? I know you have Wilson. I know you have St. Brown, Nakua, but Nakua's not going to be the 4th receiver.
Hey, he can return field goals.
We had Tipton, but
to the 4.
Mason
No, that was
Tipton's
awesome.
You got
Mason Tipton.
So you got Shaheed Olave, A.T. Perry, top 3. Cedric Wilson, Minnie St. Brown, Stanley Morgan Jr., Mason
Stanley
Tipton,
Morgan Jr.,
Samson Nakua, and that's the only ones they have listed. There are more.
That's the thing. So like Morgan Jr. had a decent preseason, didn't really stand out. Tipton was like,
was it Kevin Austin?
Yeah, Kevin Austin. But I feel like Kevin Austin just kept beating really bad corners.
Yeah.
But hey, you got to do that.
No one took charge. Like there's nobody that was like great from week 1 to week 3 of the preseason and is like, that's your wide receiver 4. And that's concerning.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, definitely probably.
I don't think going into the season, your main concern is wide receiver 4. But when your wide receiver 1 isn't even a true wide receiver 1 and he's constantly hurt, like
your wide receiver 2 hasn't seen the field yet.
That's true too.
He's already hurt.
Yeah.
Well, you know, way to bring me down.
I'm pointing it out here, man. We said I don't know, during the offseason, people were making it a point to say like wide receiver was a strength of this team, and I couldn't see it. I think those are the people that, you know, full disclosure, I am not the biggest believer in Chris Olave. I think he's talented. I don't think he's a wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Olave has to do quarterback play too.
Maybe.
Like, get him a quarterback, I think it would be a lot better.
Maybe. I genuinely don't know. I don't think you know what you have with Olave, which is really scary going into a contract year. You see all these other guys getting all this money. Are you ready to go give him the same money CD's getting? And
no chance.
Absolutely not.
No chance. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I'm not sold on Olave yet. So all offseason, I was screaming. It was probably the second biggest concern for me of the offseason. And now your best option is maybe Hunter Renfrow. And it's like, ugh. But
yeah,
it hurt. Like we're one injury away from being the terrible receiving core we had, a few years back before we got Olave.
It's okay. We're just going to run the ball every play.
They're just going to call Marquez Callaway back, and it's going to be that.
Don't do it.
I did see a couple of guys that we had in camp in the offseason that already got cut and went to other teams, got released today. So maybe we call them back. All right, let's talk about the fun part here.
Let's do it.
Who is QB1? No, quarterback 2. Who you got? Hainer or Rattler?
I got Rattler.
A week ago, I was going Hainer. Rattler won me over last week. And it's funny because I don't think Hainer had a bad game. I just think Rattler showed he is the guy everybody's talking about. Now, granted, his numbers aren't that great, which we were talking about earlier, but I definitely am going Rattler.
I think with Hainer, it just seems kind of more forced. Some of the plays that he does with the Rattler, the way he plays is just calm. It does. He takes charge, and
it's just something feels different when he's in the game.
He feels under control at all times, which is something you can't teach, and it calms the team. There's a lot to be said for that, and that's fans are realizing it, and they don't know what they're seeing. And maybe I'm just speaking over everybody's, or not speaking over everybody's heads, but acting like I'm better than that, and I don't mean to. You can't teach that shit, and yeah, it translates very well to the rest of your team, which is why people are tweeting that they want him as QB1.
Well, that's something we've talked about in our group chat. Is the play on the field is not what is working against Derek Carr right now. Because, I mean, for what it's worth, like we're not going to forget that Derek, he had a bad first game, Derek Carr. That 95-yard drive was good. Derek Carr had some moments this preseason. And, you're not running the full scheme. I still believe he's the best quarterback on the team right now. Highest ceiling, different conversation.
Yeah.
But as we stand right now, and there's going to be people that disagree with that, because they just want to push the Rattler thing.
Which is silly. Stop it.
Yeah. This is another conversation we can have. But I don't even know how I want to word this. Rattler's easily QB2 for me. But I think if Derek Carr goes down mid-game, I could see Jake Hainer.
Are you a little excited? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were going to be one of those people.
No.
I was like, dang, man.
I think because I think fans would be upset if this happens. But I think it's what will happen.
Yeah.
I think because we saw it when Taysom came in as QB2 or Jameis came in as QB2, but when they had the week to game plan, it was reversed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think if Carr goes down, Hainer might come in.
Yeah.
But when you get a week to game plan, it's going to be Rattler.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I want to see both of them, to be fair. I want to see Hainer and Rattler with the ones.
Yeah. I think the beauty of Hainer everybody's swept up in this whole Rattler thing, right? And rightfully so. His talent is through the roof, and you hope that he can be the guy that you think he is. Hainer's special, or he looks special, in my opinion. He's methodical. He's a fighter. Like he's not Drew Brees. I want to throw that out there because I was about to compare him to Drew Brees. He is not Drew Brees.
Got the scar on his face.
But he's got that competitive edge that you also can't teach. He's a likable guy. He makes quick decisions. He can move in the pocket. That's the one thing now I'm going to compare to QB1 again, and I don't mean to keep doing this, but that's the one thing between Rattler and Hainer that you don't see as much with Derek Carr. He doesn't move as much.
No.
Maybe because he's older. I don't know. But I really like that about them. They can make plays under pressure. They don't get sacked like that. They don't panic. Hainer does force some things. Mm-hmm. I'll give you that. But I don't know. I like him. There's something about him I really like.
Yeah, they're both really good quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you get to think back when we had to get down to Trevor Siemian, right? That's QB3. If you get down to QB3 this season, you don't feel completely lost.
Yeah,
I don't think. Does it end up working out well? Maybe not. Yeah. Right? Like when it's real game time and Hainer has to play in a real game, does it work out? Who knows, right?
He locks onto his tight end for 20 passes in a row.
Right.
We didn't forget.
Yeah. Right. But I mean, from all you can base off is what you've seen, right? And through the preseason, I wouldn't be like all hope is lost if either one of them had to step on the field.
Yeah.
I think the deeper conversation here, I don't think there's much of a competition at any quarterback spot now. I think, at least from my eyes, I think Rattler has pretty much solidified himself as QB2. I don't know if the depth chart will show that.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, QB2, there's a gap for 1 and 2, whether people want to admit it or not. But I think the bigger conversation here is, for me, the Derek Carr thing. The reason I don't like starting Derek Carr is because it feels like you're a team without a direction. Because I don't think he's good enough to win you a Super Bowl, but he's not bad enough to lose you 12, 13 games. I know there's people out there that think he is. He's not. He's not bad enough to lose you 13 games to get you your quarterback of the future. The Rattler thing for me is if you start him, you're going to find out what you got. And it's not going to happen. They're not starting Rattler at all. At least I don't know how many weeks into the season does it have to be bad for that conversation to start happening?
Well, it depends how bad it is and what the bad is, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that can go into that. Listen, I hate to say it like this. Coaches are paid to win games. And that is why Rattler and Haener will not be your starting quarterback, right? Like whether we want them to start or not, Derek Carr is the best chance you have at winning games right now. And you're right. They're not going to lose 13 games with Derek Carr in the center. You know how they're going to lose 13 games? Derek Carr gets hurt, which sounds crappy because maybe they don't. Maybe Rattler steps up and he's just the second coming, But yeah, that the world where they lose that many games is not going to be under Derek Carr. And I know people disagree with that, but there's a reason he's been in the league so long. There's a reason he's got 30 comeback victories. There's a reason his stats are as good as they are. Do we like him as a person? I don't know. I never met the guy, but I know other people don't. So but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's been my thing with Rattler. The only reason to start Rattler right now, and again, not going to happen for all the reasons you just said. The only reason to start him would be to find out what you have for better or worse. Like we talked about, if it pays off and they win 12, 13 games with him, great. You have your quarterback of the future. You're a good team. You're in that direction. If he's terrible, you get one of these first picks, and then you get your quarterback of the future. You're in that direction. For me with Derek Carr, it feels like you're in that.
It's stuck in mediocrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is I think it's fan speak. We view the team as mediocrity. They're operating the team as we have a chance to win this year. And that's like the overall view of the team. Like I think the team is old and they probably should start selling some pieces off and start not rebuilding, because we've talked in the past about how rebuilds don't work.
Yeah. There's science behind it.
Right. Like you need that 2016, 2017 movement where you start selling a couple
of really good drafts.
Yeah. You got some, like, this is kind of going into a new conversation, but you have some young cornerbacks, right, that are talented. Do you start looking at moving Marshawn, as talented as he is, to get the picks because he's getting older? Do you start looking at moving Alvin and all these older players, right? Like,
that's an interesting conversation right now. I'll say that much. The Marshawn conversation, not Alvin, because Alvin you can't afford to move right now.
Yeah.
But Marshawn, I mean, you technically just drafted a corner. You've been growing corners on trees. Do you at least test the market? Say, hey, what's out there? The problem is I don't think there's a ton of market out there. But
yeah,
there's a notable corner. I can't think of his name. He got traded for like a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Was it Gilmore?
Didn't Jalen Ramsey just went for like a 3rd or 4th round pick? So it's like he's at least on par with Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
At this point,
he's too much.
To me, he's better than Jalen Ramsey right now when he's on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably the return you get. But also, like, and I know we just saw the preseason and not always the starters, but when that start defense was out there without him, like nothing looked worse, right? Yeah. And we've seen it you have proof in the regular season with a Dennis Allen defense when Marshawn goes down. It's not like the end of the world. So it is a conversation to have, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's something they're going to do mid-year. I don't think they start that. Maybe next year you start having those conversations, but
I'll be honest, next year his value is even lower, in my opinion. Yeah. His history shows me, and he's getting older. I can't remember how old he is, but corners don't stick around forever. History shows with his injury history. I mean,
he's already 7 years in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think next year you get even less for him.
Yeah. And I mean, especially like we talked about Rico Payton.
Kamara's like 28, 29. He's got to be around
Kamara's
age range.
Yeah. They're all about the same.
Yeah. We talked about Rico Payton. That's another one. Like if you just like you said, you're finding them off the street, it might be time because they need draft picks. They need to get younger, especially on defense. The secondary is, well, I guess you can't say it's aging now because they're starting to get more cornerbacks.
Yeah, the secondary is young. Marshawn and Tyrann. Obviously, you got to replace him eventually.
But I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation, maybe for another episode. That's all the stuff I had. Is there any other? We'll hold off on previewing.
You had something else.
We'll hold off on previewing week one.
Oh, I feel like there was one more about running back.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just the running back competition. So Alvin is RB1. We know that.
Yeah.
Who should be behind him? Is that guy on the team? And
I think he's on the team.
And follow up. Will Kendre be on the roster week one? Should he be on the roster week one?
I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on it. I feel like he should, but he hasn't really been healthy at all. So he really hasn't shown anything because he hadn't been on the field playing at all. So I don't know. You really can't like reserve a roster spot for somebody if someone else is going to take it.
It's the fact that we have to have this conversation is crazy.
It is crazy. I'll give my answer. If Kendre Miller is healthy and doesn't have an injury designation, he is 100% on the roster week one. There is no reason to cut someone who is as talented as Kendre Miller. I know he's not playing. I know we're frustrated with him. You don't cut that guy. I know that sounds crazy. I know there's frustration there. In my opinion, you make it black and white. You make it business, right? If he's hurt, guess what, buddy? You're on the IR. You know what I mean? And then we'll figure this stuff out when you come back. And if we've already found your replacement by then, we'll trade you. We'll figure something out. If we have to cut you, we'll cut you. But you just, in Saints wisdom, you kick the can as far as you can and you see if it pans out.
I don't think it's the fans that want to cut Kendre.
Yeah, the head coach is saying some pretty bad things about him.
Yeah. Now whether it's real, right?
Yeah.
Like whether he's really
is it coach speak? Like,
right.
Is he, you know,
that's the conversation. I don't see how you can cut him, and especially if they end up keeping some of these other guys. Like you kept Marcus Davenport around forever. You have kept Peyton Turner around this long.
People forget it's been 1 year. It's not like this has been 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think he could definitely show something, you know, if he stays healthy, he plays.
Also,
100%.
You can't draft a guy with injury concerns, like knowing he has injury concerns, and then be mad at him for getting injured and not being able to play. You knew this was an issue coming in. You know who is going to be on the field week one, though? Tajay Spears will be on the field week one. And we won't have to go down that. But I don't ever want to hear this debate ever again.
Will he, though? Because he jumped through 3 people and landed on his
He got
knee.
up.
He did get up.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. He has to be on the team. He's a different type of back than anybody on the team. He's got real speed.
Yeah. Y'all want to see talent? Go watch the 1 or 2 highlights he has. I know it's not a lot, but that was like out of 5 plays he's played.
Yeah, he has to be on the team. If you're gonna cut one of the running backs, like a notable running back, I would think Jamal would be. No, I don't. Cap wise, I don't know how that would work. But even Jamal showed that week 2 he had a really good game.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't. For me, with a whole new scheme, I'm keeping the running back room the same and adding to it.
Yep,
I'm not getting rid of any of these guys because I think the scheme alone is going to bump all of them up. So. I don't think it's a position of weakness if everyone is healthy. Mm-hmm. And also, if James Robinson is going to look like James Robinson,
the James Robinson.
Again, if he's going to be the James Robinson.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know, but Dave and I randomly at different times were like, is that the James Robinson? Like,
like led the league in rushing James Robinson?
Totally forgot he existed.
Right. And he legit, like that, we're joking, but he legitimately looked good.
Yeah.
So I'd be shocked if they cut Kendre. Well, I don't want to say shocked because I don't know what Dennis Allen thinks in his brain.
Maybe this is his Sean Payton move, you know? Payton was known for, listen, we're gonna play the guys that give us the best chance. We're gonna cut the guys that don't. I mean, Payton made his name early on keeping Pierre Thomas and cutting Pittman. I can't remember his first name. Andre. I don't know. He's a 3rd round pick.
Yeah. And
he was like, bye, you sucked. We're keeping this other guy who became one of the most notable running backs in Saints history.
But also, Kendre doesn't suck.
That's true.
That's the issue here.
Very true.
Like he would be the poster child for going to another team and just taking off. Right? Like he's got RB1 talent.
Yeah.
Clear as day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like
I probably would have, and he probably would go somewhere else and just
like you said, it's 1 year of this.
It's 1 year.
We're not 2 years of him not playing.
It's not like Peyton Turner with like 3 years of 3 years.
And now maybe I've seen people say like maybe this is an issue of like him being able to go and not going.
Yeah, which I'm sure Dennis is a little frustrated with because there's a lot of that going on.
Because there's other injured guys, right? That he's not calling out like that. So it makes it feel like there's more to it that we don't don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think if they cut him, it is strictly because he's not healthy. Because you already said it, he could go on IR. Doesn't even cost you a roster spot. Why would you lose him for nothing? So maybe there's more going on, and then that's a bigger issue. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Cool. I had thoughts. Do you want to close it out with something, or you just want to ride into next week? Because I was going to say, I don't know how long we've been going, but if we want to go around the horde and make some predictions.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said horde. I meant to say horn. You know what I meant?
Go ahead. We'll finish with that.
I don't have any predictions. I was just hoping you guys would. What do we think the Saints' record is going to be? Shout out a number. And how far do they get? Is it playoffs? Is it first round? If obviously their record is good enough. Or if they're not good enough, then where do they place in the NFC South?
I don't know.
Are we assuming full health here?
No. I think you expect some.
I mean, when I say like quarterback, are we assuming Derek Carr fully healthy 17 games?
That's part of your prediction. You tell me and tell me why.
Saying like our floor
okay
could be like 6-10, 7-11, or 7-10, not 7-11. But our ceiling could be 7-11, 18. Our ceiling could be like 10-7, you know, make it to playoffs.
Do you think we're pretty locked in there between a 3-game range? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any way they get above 10 wins.
Yeah.
Like it just gut feeling tells me 10 wins is the upside. Now 10 wins may be enough to win our division. We'll see with that. But
now if they get to the playoffs, I don't know how many games that they could.
Listen, if they get to the playoffs, they have the defense that can cause some trouble. If this defense looks like we think it's going to look, that can win games, especially late in the year. And we saw last year, Derek Carr got hot at the end of the season. And if the right things happen at the right times, anything can happen once you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If I have to say floor, 5 wins, I think ceiling is 10. I mean, that's a big gap. A 5-game difference is a big difference. 5 wins is probably, I don't see only 5 wins with Derek Carr fully healthy all year. I just don't. Not with this defense. Like it just, official prediction, I will say 8-9.
8-9.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm not going floor and ceiling. I'm just locking in a number. I'm going 9-8. My for whatever reason, my gut is telling me second in the NFC South. Probably battling for first. It might go down to the wire. First round, I think they win in the first round in the wild card round of the playoffs. I think they're eliminated in the second round. That's just me throwing out hot takes. 9-8.
Who wins the division?
So you think they get a wild card spot?
I think they get a wild card spot at 9-8.
Okay.
Welcome to the new NFL.
All right. Over under 1.5 games Spencer Rattler starts this year.
Under.
Say under.
I'll say under too.
I think
for whatever reason, whether it's injury or just Derek Carr being bad, under. I just don't see it.
That's fair. I agree with you. I think they go to Haener first. I know that's not a pretty take, but I think they view him as the safe option.
Yeah. I think when the official depth chart comes out, I think Jake Haener will be QB2. Whether the depth chart matters, I don't know.
I don't think it reflects the talent.
No. Yeah, this is not me saying that I think Jake Haener is better or worse, really. It's just, I feel like we know this team by now and this front office and what they're going to do. And I think because it's so close, Haener's the vet.
1 year, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He's been in this. No, he hasn't. It's a new system.
No, it's a new system.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think the depth chart at quarterback, it matters at all because I don't know. Either way, whoever's 2 and 3, I don't know who comes in when the game, like when it actually happens. It
could be one of those situations where you have Haener at QB2 and randomly Carr goes down, and they're like, Spencer Rattler's coming into the game, and it's like, okay, I had no idea.
Yeah, it also depends on if Haener were to come in, does he play well? Right? Like you don't know. Anything else?
I don't think so.
No. All right.
Any wild takes before the season starts? Doesn't have to be Saints related.
Any wild takes? Do you have any? What would be your most random team to win a Super Bowl this year?
This year, because it's not next year, right?
No,
I'm just being
this year.
Man, most random team to win this year.
Seahawks
or just team nobody's talking about.
Seattle. Yep.
Mine's gonna be a cop out. I don't feel like people are talking about them as a Super Bowl contender anymore, but I think I'm picking them because people stop talking about them. I'm picking the Bills.
I was going to say the Bengals. I thought we were about to be on the same page because it's kind of the same conversation.
Yeah.
Fully healthy Joe Burrow. Last time we saw him really fully healthy, he went into Arrowhead and got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Also, Joe Burrow, plus 300, comeback player of the year. A little bit of value there.
There you go.
Bet responsibly.
Well, it's not gambling advice.
Yeah, not gambling advice. Yeah, I would have said Bengals.
Cool.
I'll say Dolphins, though.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay. Sexy pick.
I like that pick. Fun.
Chargers, maybe? I mean,
That
no,
would be a
they're
turnaround. But I
they-
mean, hey, they have a franchise
Detroit.
quarterback. Detroit.
Detroit, definitely.
I feel like now we're just naming random
Yeah,
teams.
all right.
Like
That's it. Close us out, Patty.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 1 of That Saints Pod. In case you're wondering why we didn't name ourselves Dat Saints Pod, that's a story for later. You'll have to wait for it. Follow us everywhere. Obviously, if you're not already following the know, let's be in the know basically everywhere. KNEAUX. Follow Big Easy Nation at Big Easy Nation on Twitter and on Instagram specifically. Most of his followers are on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram listening, go follow him on Twitter, dude. You love him already. Be a part of that too. That's all I got.
Yeah, and this will be out on YouTube. It'll also go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those different things.
Producer at
So,
heart.
yeah.
There he is.
Whatever you want to listen to it on, it'll be there. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Who dat?